Our top story today at thegatewaypundit.com, an update. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police have released a full manifesto from Matthew Livelsberger. This is not a terrorist attack. It is a wake-up call. We're talking about this story and so much more here on the Gateway Pundits Week in Review. My name is Elijah Schaffer, and this is the Week in Review, where we cover the top 5 stories of the last 24 hours. Our top story today is an update on the alleged terrorist attack. It turns out maybe we were wrong. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police released a full manifesto from Matthew Livelsberger. This was not a terrorist attack. It is a wake-up call, Jim Hoff reports. Well, it turns out that the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department held a gripping press conference on Friday, releasing shocking new details from the investigation into this week's explosion at the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. Now, authorities have unveiled excerpts from texts and notes discovered on the devices of suspect Matthew Livelsberger. Now, Assistant Sheriff Dory Karen took the podium detailing a chilling manifesto that Livelsberger left behind. The notes, laden with political grievances and existential despair, suggest a man deeply embittered by what he saw as America's terminal illness under weak and feckless leadership. In one excerpt from the note application, Livelsberger's devices, he writes, "Fellow service members, veterans, and all Americans, time to wake up. We are being led by weak and feckless leadership who only serve to enrich themselves." He goes on to explain that the grievances spanning political corruption, social decay, and personal struggles. But it's the second note that delivered an even darker revelation. We are the United States of America, the best country and people to ever exist. But right now, we are terminally ill and headed towards collapse. This was not a terrorist attack. It is a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. What better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives? Why did I personally do it now? Well, I need to cleanse my mind of the brothers I've lost and relieve myself of the burden of the lives I've took. He goes on to explain here directly, I'd just like to also expand on that and emphasize that these are just excerpts. In there, he does offer additional information that varies on the spectrum in terms of political grievances, issues about the conflicts elsewhere, not here, domestic issues, social issues, and a variety of other things, including personal challenges as well, said Assistant Sheriff Dory Karen. Now, we are intending to release those initial letters so people can understand as best they can what the person's thought process was at one point in the time. However, please understand here is still a lot more content to go through, and that may change. There may be a lot more information that we recover that either explains more or shows a change in mindset at different times. And we still have a large volume of data to go through and a lot of content to go through, as you know. With any one of our devices, there's thousands, if not millions of videos, photos, documents, web history, and all of those things that need to be analyzed. Now, of course, you can watch the full video there on thegatewaypundit.com. It's important to realize in a story like this man is saying, look, Americans only pay attention to spectacle. And that's actually a genuine criticism of our society. I mean, do we really want to be a country where we, are held down and only held captive by a woman being burned alive on a New York subway? If you saw that story, or the fact that a young retired vet blew himself up in a car. I don't think it was by, accident that he blew himself up in a Tesla in front of Trump Tower, saying that, we're being controlled by people who don't have our best interests in mind. I'm not coming out against Trump or Elon. I'm just saying with recent changes in censorship on the app, it is a bit suspicious that this would happen around the exact same time. I'm not entirely sure what to make of it, but I will say, may he rest in peace, because in the midst of all this, I pray that the rest of our service members could find the help and attention they need psychologically before they take their lives, as so many do every single year. Now, that being said, we live in the most advanced era in human history. There's actually been more medical breakthroughs than there are right now. So why are millions of Americans more unhealthy and overweight than they've ever been? Well, according to the U.S. board-certified physician and expert nutritionist, Dr. Amy Lee, one of the main reasons is 3 harmful foods that are being passed off as health foods all over the country. And wait till you hear this. Because these foods can cause weight gain, clog your digestive tract, deplete your energy, and wreck your skin, they are banned in other countries. Yet shockingly, they are still legal in the U.S., and it's time that someone shined a light on what they are. Dr. Amy Lee does just that, and while explaining how the side effects from these foods are wreaking havoc on the health of millions of Americans, the great news is it's easy to stop and reverse this damage by simply learning which foods to avoid and how to spot them. By doing so, you can experience easier weight loss, smooth digestion, and vibrant energy. To find out these 3 fake health foods, go to 3harmfulfoods.com/pundit. That's the number 3, HARM, FULFOODS/pundit after the .com, or click on the link in the description using my promo code Pundit. After years of extensive study, you can find out the 3 foods that are hurting you at 3harmfulfoods.com/pundit today. Now, as I mentioned, we live in a very complex time in an era where there are often more questions than there are answers. But that being said, what people thought was another terrorist attack may be something much less sinister. It might just be living in America around diversity. You know what I mean? It's absolutely fantastic. Are you loving it? Well, here's an update. Massive emergency response as multiple people are shot in Washington, D.C. Jim Hoff reports. 5 individuals were shot on Friday right in northeast Washington, D.C. The Metropolitan Police Department confirmed that the victims were all conscious and breathing. The victims include 3 men and 1 woman, while 2 victims were rushed to the hospital by emergency medical services, and the other 2 reportedly sought medical attention on their own. Now it has been reported that a 5th person was injured in the shooting, this news outlet added. The MPD stated that the shooting resulted from a dispute between individuals known to each other. Alert, shooting investigation in the 1500 block of Harry Thomas Way Northeast, preliminary, adult male and adult female. Interesting. Adult males that can't aim, located at the scene, transported conscious and breathing. 2 additional adult males arrived at a hospital, both conscious and breathing, DC Police Department wrote on X. Now, shooting investigation, we can already read that there. That being said, the Metropolitan Police Department is actively investigating, with detectives on the scene shortly after the incident was reported. They ended up releasing this directly on X, saying multiple people in Washington, D.C. have been shot, and there are many emergency vehicles on the scene. Praying for everyone. Unfortunately, this isn't a terrorist attack. It's just called a Tuesday in the hood. They didn't say that last part, but that is genuinely, unfortunately, the reality of what we go through. And I honestly think sometimes when I look at stories like this, when we heard about those 11 people that were shot in the terrorist attack in Queens, I go, Queens? It couldn't have been the Jews shooting each other, could it have been? What other group of people live in Queens that are known to shoot each other? Ah, yes, the Jehovah's Witnesses. They're always shooting each other, right? Am I right? Got to get those dang JHs. They got to get out of our cities immediately. Now, speaking of somebody who probably should be shipped off to the hood to never be heard from again, Liz Cheney responds to Trump's explosive comments regarding her receiving an undeserved medal from Biden. Colin Linebarger reports this very interesting development from somebody who's thin-skinned and disgusting, and some say even was cast to play Shrek in the live-action movie. The only difference was they didn't have to put any makeup on her. They said she already looked like a damn ogre. Anyway, Liz Cheney could not help herself in firing back at President Trump on Friday over his savage remarks regarding the medal that she received from Joe Biden, and ended up making a huge error in the process. As the Gateway Pundit reported, Biden awarded the second highest civilian medal to 20 individuals on Thursday. These included leaders from January 6 Select Committee, Cheney, and Representative Benny Thompson, along with 2 of his longtime friends and cronies, former Senators Tom Kaufman and Chris Dodd. The award, known as the Presidential Citizens Medal, is generally given to Americans who had performed exemplary deeds of service for their country or for their fellow citizens. The Biden regime's view of service is persecuting their enemies and having the right kind of relationship with old Joe. This reality was not lost on Trump, as responded to this blatant mockery of the award with fire earlier this Friday afternoon. Now, Biden gave Liz Cheney a medal yesterday, even though she has proven to be totally corrupt, Trump wrote on Truth Social. Bernie Thompson and the rest of the Unselect Committee destroyed and deleted all evidence from their crooked investigation. Now, Cheney has the distinction of losing her congressional seat by the largest margin in history. The people of Wyoming understood how bad for our country she was, but Biden rewarded her only because she hated Trump. She's a warmonger of low intelligence. All she wants to do is kill people in endless wars with no gain other than to defense companies. Trump continued that Liz Cheney, crying Adam Kinzinger, and Benny Thompson, and the rest of these dishonest thugs have gotten away with horrible things under the pretense of January 6. Nancy Pelosi refused to accept the help which was offered for security. She is responsible and admitted as much as for all to see on her daughter's tape that they have destroyed the lives of many people and are awarded by getting Biden's fake medals. This is not America. January 20th cannot come fast enough. Make America great again. Now, Cheney soon noticed Trump's remarks and proceeded to issue a lie-filled, childish response on X. Donald, this is not the Soviet Union. You can't change the truth, and you can't silence us. Remember all your lies about the voting machines, the election workers, your countless allegations of fraud that never happened? Many of your lawyers have been sanctioned, disciplined, or disbarred. The courts ruled against you, and dozens of your own White House administration and campaign aides testified against you. Remember how you sent a mob to our Capitol and then watched the violence on television and refused for hours to instruct the mob to leave? Remember how your former vice president prevented you from overturning our republic? We remember, and now as you take office again, the American people need to reject your latest malicious falsehoods and stand on the guardrails of our constitutional republic to protect America we love from you. And so, yeah. Well, I'm not saying women shouldn't be involved in politics, but I am saying some women shouldn't be involved in politics, and she's one of them, right? So that's sort of the stance we have to take today. Get her out. And unfortunately, she's not really involved in politics. She's not involved in elected political office, but she's involved in the deep state bureaucracy. And what we mean by that, when we say deep state, isn't some conspiracy theory. It means people like her who currently are not elected by the people, but somehow are involved in the government actions and influence of this country to sway public opinion and policy. It's like she doesn't listen when we say, get the hell out of here. Now, that being said, in interesting news, crazy, breaking, corrupt judge Juan Merchan orders Trump to be sentenced in hush money case on January 10th. Christina Lila reports that President Trump will be sentenced in Alvin Bragg's lawfare hush money case on January 10th before his inauguration. This court finds that neither the vacator of the jury's verdicts or dismissal of the indictment are required by the presidential immunity doctrine, the Presidential Transition Act, or the Supremacy Clause. Judge Juan Merchan wrote on Friday. Merchan said that Trump will not serve time behind bars and allowed him to appear virtually at his sentencing next week. Before President Donald Trump returns to the White House, he will return to the courthouse, a New York judge ruled Friday. Justice Juan Merchan will sentence Trump for his crimes on January 10th. Don't you love when the sitting president of the United States is sentenced for fake crimes by a man named Juan Merchan? Are you loving it, Anon? I'm loving it. Now, a court proceeding that will be unlike any of America's 248 years, Trump's conviction in New York stemmed from a $130,000 so-called hush money payment his then attorney Michael Cohen made to adult film star Stormy Daniels in days before the 2016 election. Justice Juan Merchan's ruling ends 2 months of speculation and back and forth jockeying by Trump's attorneys and prosecutors for Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg following Trump's narrow election victory on November 5th. In April, Trump was convicted on all 34 felony counts after he was accused of paying porn star Stormy Daniels, Stephanie Clifford as we call her, hush money payments through his then attorney Michael Cohen. Now, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg alleged that Trump committed fraud because the payment was labeled legal fees. Judge Merchan previously delayed Trump's November 26 sentencing in Alvin Bragg's lawfare case indefinitely, but Trump's lawyer last month filed several motions to dismiss the case. Merchan previously rejected Trump's effort to overturn the felony conviction based on the presidential immunity argument after the Supreme Court ruled that U.S. presidents have immunity from prosecution from official acts. Trump previously ripped Merchan for releasing a psychotic order and disrespecting the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling on presidential immunity. Breaking, in a completely illegal psychotic order, the deeply conflicted, corrupt, biased, and incompetent acting Justice Juan Merchan has completely disrespected the United States Supreme Court and its historic decision on immunity. But even without immunity, this illegitimate case is nothing but a rigged hoax. Merchan, who was a radical partisan, wrote on opinion that is knowingly unlawful, goes against our Constitution, and if allowed to stand, would be the end of the presidency as we know it. Merchan has so little respect for the Constitution that he is keeping in pace an illegal gag order on me, your president and president-elect, just so I cannot expose his and his family's disqualifying and illegal conflicts, Trump said on Truth Social last month. Now, it is kind of weird that we can, suddenly decide that we don't want to hear from our president because, a judge doesn't want his family exposed. The amount of interchangeable or intergenerational, disqualifying corruption that happens at a systemic level, both in the judicial, in the exemplary forces of our, executive agencies like the FBI, which we know, God, they're not corrupt, right? They're not corrupt. Corrupt is the FBI. I mean, they really can be swapped between the two. But we know that this corruption has been nothing more than evident, and now these people are protecting themselves. That, my friends, is like a very strange form of totalitarianism and authoritarianism, where like Brazil, the courts are weaponized. It's very insane and off-putting to say the least. Now, that being said, it is kind of crazy. I don't know if you've ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris, but I recently saw a video that he made and I was shocked. He's in his 80s and still kicking butt and working out and staying active. What's even more shocking is he's stronger, can work out longer, and even has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids. He did this by just making one change. He says that he still feels like he's in his 50s. His wife even started doing this one thing too, and she's never felt better. She says that she feels 10 years younger, her body looks leaner, and she has energy all day. Chuck made a special video that explains everything you need to know. Make sure that you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/pundit. That's ChuckDefense.com/PUNDIT, or by clicking the link in the video below. It'll change the way that you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/pundit, and click on the link in the description below to watch the video now. You won't believe how simple it is. Watch his method by clicking the link in the description, chuckdefense.com/pundit. You're not going to want to miss it. Check it out today. My dad did, and a few of my friends have. I've sent the links their way, and I encourage you to check it out before it's too late. That being said, Kamala Harris is back in the news. I know, she didn't go away. She's still your vice president. Isn't that bizarre? She's like the vice president of the United States. It's like nobody even cares, right, that she's the vice president. But she is the vice president. And that being said, Kamala Harris completely botches the Pledge of Allegiance on the Senate floor. Listen to this. Every day that passes in America, we learn just how big of a bullet we dodged when Kamala Harris succumbed to a landslide defeat last November. That being said, while the House of Representatives presumably votes to re-elect Mike Johnson as Speaker, Harris has been swearing in senators as she helps open the new Congress. But a funny and embarrassing thing happened to Harris during what was supposed to be a completely forgettable event. As she presided over the Senate floor, Harris led the members in the Pledge of Allegiance. Surely a woman with her extensive experiences in politics would know that words like her own name. Wrong. Turns out that Harris doesn't know how to swear allegiance to the U.S. flag and our country. Here's what she says as she attempts to honor America. More importantly, watch this. It's absolutely remarkable to see the fact that she can't even remember basic lines of something so important. Check it out.
Join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. To pledge allegiance to the United States of America. And to join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. To pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
I pledge allegiance to the United States and to the United States of Israel, Ukraine. I don't know what country we're serving more than our own. I've lost count of the wars we're funding when we're literally have wars in our streets. Why don't we lock up a few Jamals in Southside Chicago? Maybe that'll fix a few things before we let any more rapists and child molesters over our border. It's a very big possibility. Perhaps we could learn from El Salvador. Anyways, I'm Elijah Schaffer. Thank you so much again for watching the Gateway Pundits Weekend Review. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our mailing list, and join our mug club. You get a very nice girthy mug. My producer asked me to stop calling this girthy, but it's thick, right? It's got embossed a logo on it, and when you join, you get this mug. Plus, you help support independent media and journalism. It's worth a shot. And if you want to pour a little whiskey and some eggnog, it's still winter. Take a shot of that for me, and have a great rest of the weekend. And may God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.